Welcome back to another episode of Authors and Espresso. My name is Nadia Gilkes, and I am your host, and I thank you so much for tuning in. As we jump into today's episode, I ask for some grace because if I sound a little bit funny, I am one of the newest members of the Invisalign family. I'm very excited, although it's a painful journey. A year from now, I will have beautiful teeth. So pain is going to lead to beauty at the end of this road. But anyway, I'm still getting used to it. So that being said, this episode probably won't be that long. But here at Authors and Espresso, my goal is to get everyone writing their story because everybody has a story. And I truly feel like if we just took the time to learn more about each other, we would probably find that we are more alike than different. And that could open the door to much needed healing, especially in today's uncertain, trying, conflicted, chaotic times. So I want people writing their stories. This is also a platform where we highlight authors who have written their stories and self-published. And so today we are answering that question that so many people have. Where do you even start? Where do you even find a topic? How do you get started writing? If you've listened to the episodes that are already out, it's either been said a ton of times or authors have just done it. First things first, the easiest way to get started is to write about something that you know, something that you are an expert in, whether it's your skill set, whether it's something that you have a degree in. Start with what you know, and that just makes the words kind of flow onto the page because you're not having to really do too much research behind the scenes to get started. So the biggest way is to start with your expertise, starting with what you don't have to think too hard about. Another idea is as you go through life and you talk to people and you're getting to know people or you're learning people and they turn to you and say, "Oh my gosh, you should write a book." You have said something that struck a chord with them and they want to know more about it. And if you hear that over and over and over again, whatever that topic is, that's probably what you should write about. And that's likely because you overcame something that they're still dealing with and they want the blueprint of how you overcame, or they're going through the same issue and they don't want to feel alone because there's power in numbers. Whatever that is that you keep saying and people turn to you and say, "Oh, you should turn that into a book. You should write a book. Oh my gosh, you've been through something so traumatic and look at you thriving on the other end. You should write a book." Well, that's your sign. You should write a book about that. And then I tell people to also dive into whatever makes you emotional. You have a favorite song and it makes you happy. What are the lyrics to the song? Really sit down, look at them, and dive into what that is moving inside of you. Or something happens and it makes you angry. Jot that down and explore that. Why did that situation make you angry? Where is that coming from? Or just things that you love or hear in everyday conversations, things that you tap into regularly. That is something that you can dive into and write about. Things that are happening in the headlines. There is no shortage of chaos in today's society. So you can always tap into a headline. What are people talking about? What are those water cooler conversations that are going on at work or in your social circles or your networks? That's a great starting point. What I like to encourage people to do is keep a journal. Maybe sit down at the end of the night and write out a little brain dump of what happened during the day, how you felt, what excited you, what inspired you, what made you angry, how did work go, how did your hobbies go. Just keep a journal of your day. And while you're out and about, maybe you don't want to carry a journal around, but you've probably got a phone in your hand. So you have voice notes, you have voice memos, or an electronic diary, which is what I use. So I can open it up at any given moment. It's password protected, and I can just start either talking or voice to text or writing or take a picture of what I am seeing in that moment or feeling in that moment and capture that so that I don't lose it. But keeping a journal in some form or fashion is a great way to collect stories, and then over time, when you go back and read it, you probably already have a book sitting in your journal. And then there are lots of journal prompt books out there. And I love those because you can just sit there, open up to any given page, look at the prompt, and just start writing about it. And in that story spark, you might find your next book in that. If you need assistance with journal prompts, I have pages and pages of them available that I'm happy to send you. But those are just some ways to get you started on what should I write about. If you feel like, oh, I would love to be an author, I would love to hold my book in my hand, but I don't know what to write about, there's your starting point. And don't worry that nobody will read it or I don't know if it's worth it, because your audience is out there. You just have to put the work out there and then your audience will come. So I just wanted to pop in and give some practical tips on just getting started, just getting in the habit of putting something on a page, whether it's journaling every day. Doesn't have to be long, 5-10 minutes a day. Doesn't have to be written. You can do a voice memo. Really tapping into what's going on around you, how it's making you feel, and then diving into why it's making you feel a certain type of way, and then jotting that down. You don't want to lose your stories. And it doesn't have to be that intricate. It can just be taking a picture of something that happened in the moment and then going home and writing about it later. But any opportunity you have to capture a story that can be turned into either a short story or a novel later down the road, just jot it down. Make note of what people are talking about, what you are feeling, what you are thinking. And in all those little collections over time, your story will build. So I just wanted to drop that writing inspiration. Let's get in the habit of just jotting something down every day. And at some point, we all can have our story out there. This has been another episode of Authors and Espresso. Thank you for tuning in. As always, check in next week. We will have an interview with the amazing Sheila Kennedy. She has owned a self-publishing company. She's worked as a ghostwriter. She's an author in her own right, and she is a wealth of knowledge. I can't wait for you all to hear her interview, so please check back next week. Keep writing. Keep sharing your stories because you are inspiring someone, even if they don't tell you in the moment. It's another episode of Authors and Espresso. Have a great week ahead.